In today's Friday feeling, some Friday morning ramblings, I suppose, on process. Now, I don't particularly enjoy process. I like to just do things and experiment with things and tinker with things, and that's fine for exploratory stuff. That's fine for um innovation and just trying out new stuff. Where it's not fine is when you need to go from development to production. Where it's not fine is when you need to be able to demonstrate to someone that you've done something that has an impact. And most important, process and the documentation process is fundamentally about being able to repeat success. When you're innovating, when you're trying new stuff, a whole bunch of times you're going to fail miserably, and that's okay. That's part of the process of innovation. But at a certain point, you'll hit on something successful, and at that point, if you don't have things written down and documented and set up, then you kind of almost have to reinvent the wheel the next time you go do that. Which again, if you're doing innovation for innovation's sake, that's fine. If you're trying to accelerate growth, if you're trying to create new product, new service, or something like that, then having to start over from scratch every single time is really ineffective. Can you imagine going to the grocery store and trying to get the week's worth of food, and instead of having a grocery list, just try and remember what's in your house every single aisle? You're going to end up with a lot of stuff you didn't want, and probably miss about half the things that you did want. So having that documentation is important. And what got me thinking about this was I was musing about strategy, tactics, execution, and measurement, and how people mix those things up, and how they're poorly defined in most people's minds. Strategy is, why are we doing the thing, and where are we going. Tactics are, what choices are we going to make to get somewhere, and then execution is how we're going to do the thing, and doing the thing, and then measurement is, did we do the thing. And where people get mixed up is they confuse all of these pieces. They'll say something like, what's our Facebook strategy? Well, what do you mean by that? And I'll say, well, should we be doing live video and things? Well, that's not strategy. That's tactics. Those are making choices. What choices are you going to make to do the thing? Strategy is why you're doing the thing in the first place. Is Facebook even somewhere you should be? If the answer is yes, then cool. We can make choices about what you do on Facebook and how you'll do it, and then measure the success of why you're doing those things. But that confusion about strategy, tactics, execution, and measurement is indicative of a larger problem with how you think about the process. The best example I can think of this about why process matters is actually from the martial arts. There are these techniques in the Japanese martial arts. They're called kata, where you just kind of do stuff, and you punch this way and you block this way in some arts, or you have a partner and you're moving around, and one person throws, the other person tries to counter the throw. And these kata, these techniques, are process documentation, because in a lot of cases they are rooted in sort of outcomes from the battlefield. So you send 100 soldiers out on the battlefield, and like 2 guys come back, and you go to those guys, so guys, what'd you do? Like, everyone else didn't come back. Why did you guys come back? And so, well, I did this, and the other guy did this, and he fell on the sword, and I didn't. Okay. Let's write that down. Let's practice that. Let's refine it. Let's make it better. And over time, it becomes these models, these ways of documenting successes. And that's what process is. When you do it well in a business for the purposes it's intended for, is you're documenting success so that you can repeat success and you can improve upon success over and over and over again. If you don't have things written down, then you're kind of struggling to try and remember what you did the last time it worked, or you're reinventing the wheel from scratch. So, as onerous as process is, when it's being used appropriately in the organization, you're documenting your successes. One of the things I love to do personally is I have a gigantic PowerPoint deck of all these different models and frameworks and stuff like that, things that I've used in the past, or I've worked on, or I've built, or in some cases, I've seen other people use successfully. And that binder, that slide deck, is process documentation. This is how other people succeeded at Facebook or Twitter or pay-per-click ads or marketing strategy. And by having that, when I encounter someone who's running into a problem, can say, this is the process that I've used in the past, or this is the process other people use in the past to succeed at the problem you have. Maybe we need to tweak it or adjust it for your particular circumstances, but generally this is the recipe for success, quite literally a recipe. And so having that means that I don't have to kind of reinvent the wheel or guess or hope I remember all the details for something. Instead, just pull out the cookbook, say, this is the recipe for success for this situation, and it contains the strategy, the why, the direction, the goals. Contains the tactics, the what are we going to do, what choices are we going to make, and then the execution, how we're going to do it, how we're going to measure it, how we're going to keep on time and on budget, and things like that. If you don't have some form of cookbook for your own career, now is a great time to start one. Actually, 10 years ago was a great time to start one, or whenever your career started, but may as well start now. Start putting together your cookbook of strategic success, of the goals you've set out to accomplish and the direction you went to accomplish those goals. In each strategy, in each recipe in this process, what are the tactics, the choices you made, what are the choices you opted out of for that situation, and why did you make those choices? Executionally, how did you choose the timeline? How did you choose the budget? How did you stick to those things? How many meetings did you have? How many meetings did you say, we're not going to have a meeting for that? And then the measurement. How did you measure the success of what you're doing? And if you put together this sort of framework, this sort of process documentation, these martial arts techniques of marketing, if you will, then every time you run into that situation, you not only can solve the situation, but you can also demonstrate to somebody, to reassure them, to give them the confidence. Hey, we've done this before. I've done this before. I can make this thing work for you. If you're hunting for a job, if you're on the career search, having that cookbook and carrying it along with you is a huge advantage, because you can demonstrate to somebody who's interviewing you, hey, this is how I've succeeded in the past. These are all the different ways that I've been able to make something work. And they look at that and go, wow, this lady has really just done a phenomenal job, or this guy has really done a phenomenal job and has documented their successes. When you're pitching to win a sale or to win new business, depending on whether you're in a product or industry or a service industry, having that cookbook of success, of frameworks that work, impresses upon people that you've done this before and that they are safe in choosing you because you have the cookbook. And again, even the cookbook itself is going to improve and iterate over time, but having those documentation of your successes makes a huge difference in convincing people that you are the right choice for whatever it is that you're pitching them for. So those are the Friday feeling thoughts about process, the importance of process, and the documentation of it. Make your own cookbook. Make a cookbook of your successes. And even if you start out with just one recipe, that's okay. That's the best place to start. If you do that, eventually over time, you will build up that book of business in a process sense that shows that you are a successful professional and that you can get the job done. Thanks for watching. As always, please subscribe to the YouTube channel and to the newsletter, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. If you want help with your company's data and analytics, visit braintrustinsights.com today and let us know how we can help you.